Yes. So I'm starting a new playlist on UPSC Max Optional, which is Dynamics and Statics, right? So first I'll give the syllabus for you for Dynamics and Statics. So it starts with rectilinear motion, simple harmonic motion, motion in a plane, projectile, constrained motion, work and energy, conservation of energy, Kepler's law, orbits under central forces, and the equilibrium of a system of particle, work and potential energy, friction, common catenary, principle of virtual work, stability of equilibrium, equilibrium of forces in 3 dimensions, right? So don't worry about the syllabus. So what we will do is we will break this syllabus into pieces, right? Yeah. So what we're going to do is first we're going to start with rectilinear motion and simple harmonic motion. So first our for the next 6 to 7 videos, or maybe our next 15-20 videos, we will be only focusing on rectilinear motion and simple harmonic motion, right? So we are going to solve lots and lots of problem based on rectilinear motion and simple harmonic motion. So what you're going to do is first you're going to start rectilinear and simple harmonic motion. So let me introduce first. Yes. So first we're going to start rectilinear motion and simple harmonic motion. So first I'll let you know the subtopics, right? Because there are lots of subtopics in this topic. So first we're going to start with, so this our part, this our split up one. The first split up is rectilinear motion. This is our first topic, and inside this we are going to have a lot of subtopics. The first thing is first introduction, and the second is velocity and acceleration, velocity and acceleration, and the third thing is Newton's law of motion, and the fourth thing is simple harmonic motion, simple harmonic motion, and E is Hooke's law, and F is particle attached to one end of a particle attached to one end of a horizontal elastic string, one end of a horizontal elastic string. The last topic is particle suspended by elastic spring, particle suspended by elastic string. So these are the subtopics that we're going to cover in these first two topics, that is rectilinear motion and simple harmonic motion. So these are subtopics that we're going to cover one by one, right? So first I will tell you the concept behind this, and then we will solve many problems based on this topic, and then I will explain the concept behind this, and then we will solve problem in separate topics, right? Yeah. So first we'll move on to introduction. So straight away I start this. So if you are new to this channel, so let me introduce our channel. So this is our there are several playlists in our channel. So this is one of the playlists, which is Dynamics and Statics. So if you get into our channel and you get into the playlist section, you can see UPSC Max option. This playlist consists of all the subjects that are in single playlist, and there's separate playlist for ODE, and there's separate playlist for complex analysis. So this two are completely 100%, right? So complex analysis and completely 100%, and ODE I will be uploading simultaneously, ODE and dynamics and statistics, and real analysis I have solved almost more than 15 years of last year question paper, and I will be solving more, and there is also a playlist for abstract algebra, and this is a playlist consisting of question of the day, and there are a playlist containing calculus, previous year solutions from 1992, and calculus, general theory, ring theory, numerical methods. So there are lots of playlists. There are lots of more than 198 videos. So you can get into the playlist and you make use of it, right? Yeah. So we'll get into the rectilinear motion, right? So in this video, what I will be doing is, first I will let you know what's in the rectilinear motion, and then I will give some introduction to velocity and acceleration, and then I will start doing some problems based on velocity and acceleration. So first we will start the introduction. So first let us define what is meant by a rectilinear motion, right? Yeah. So we'll get on to the first topic, A. So A is just an introduction, so we can finish this A very easily. Then we'll get into the B, and then I'll explain theory behind B, and then we'll solve some problems based on velocity and acceleration, right? Yeah. So first, rectilinear motion. So first we will define that. So when a point or a particle, right, can be anything. When a point or a particle moves along a straight line, moves along a straight line, then its motion is said to be rectilinear motion. That's it. As simple as this. Then its motion is said to be a rectilinear motion, right? So for example, if a particle moves in the straight line, for example, it is a position of the particle. If this particle moves in a straight line, or it can be also like this, or it can be also like this. So if a particle moves in a straight line, then its motion is said to be rectilinear motion, right? So you know what's meant by motion, right? So you know what's meant by motion. So motion is the change of position with respect to time, right? So it is change of position of a particle, change of position with respect to time, that is, when a point moves along a straight line, then its change of position with respect to time is said to be a rectilinear motion, right? So instead of motion, if you plug this sentence here, then it will be very easy for you to understand, right? So what you are doing is, you have been analyzing the change of position with respect to time when a particle moves along a straight line, right? Yeah. And important cases, here we are going to consider only the two important things. So we shall discuss the motion of a point along a straight line, which either horizontal or vertical. So what you're going to do is rectilinear motion. We are going to consider only the motion of a particle, right, that are moving in a straight line, but we are restricting our case only to horizontal line or vertical line. So we shall, so I'll give you a proper notes also, that's why I'm writing here, right? So we shall discuss the motion of a point of a particle, right? Motion of a point or a particle along a straight line, which may be either horizontal or vertical, right? So you will be know what's rectilinear motion, right? So what we are doing is, we are just analyzing the change of position of a particle along a straight line, that is either horizontal or it can be vertical also. That is what we are going to do now, right? So when a point moves along a straight line, then its motion is said to be rectilinear motion. So you know what's meant by motion. So motion is the change of position with respect to time. So what we are doing is, when a particle moves in a straight line, we are studying the change of position with respect to time. Then it's said to be a rectilinear motion, right? That is what the introduction to rectilinear motion. Now we'll move on to velocity and acceleration, right? So this is just an introduction. So velocity and acceleration is very important. So we will first I'll explain the theory, and then we will going to solve lots of problems, right? So you know what's meant by rectilinear motion now, right? So when a particle moves in a straight line, the change of position of particle with respect to time is said to be a rectilinear motion. The important thing is the particle has to move in a straight line, right? So here we are restricting our case only to the line can be either horizontal or it can be vertical, right? Yeah. So now we'll move on to the next topic, which is velocity and acceleration, which is a very important topic. So first we will explaining the theory and then we will solve lots of problems, right? So velocity and acceleration. So I've been teaching in a way that you know that you don't know that I've been teaching from the beginning, right? So even if you know velocity, even if you know what's in velocity, even if you know what's in acceleration, no problem. I'm just going from basics, right? Yeah. So velocity and acceleration. So first you will derive the expression for velocity and acceleration, and then you will solve some problems, right? Yeah. So suppose a particle moves along a straight line. Suppose a particle moves along a straight line. So let that line be OX, right? So let that line be OX. So this is our straight line. So this is our starting point. This is fixed O and this is our X, capital X, right? So suppose a particle moves along a straight line OX, where O is the fixed point on the line. Where O is the fixed point on the line. Now we are going to let P be the position of the particle, right? So a particle starts here and started to move along a straight line. So let this be the position of a particle at time t, right? So let P be the position of a particle or a point, right? Position of a particle. Whenever you say particle, it can also be a point, right? So let P be the position of a particle at time t. So I'm going to make this distance to be x, that is displacement from OP to x, right? So the distance from O to P is, I'm naming that as x. So let P be the position of particle at time t. Let OP is equal to x, right? Yeah. If R denotes the position vector of P, and I denotes the unit vector, So you have to know what's my position vector and unit vector, right? So first I will explain what's my position vector now, and then we will get into here, right? So first, so let me explain position vector, right? So for example, if I have an origin here, suppose if you have a point, if you have a vector here, then we going to, this point, this is a coordinate, right? For example, it can be 2, 3. That means at x-axis it is 2 and y-axis it is 3. Now we are going to call this vector P as the position vector, right? So we're going to call this vector OP vector as a position vector, right? The position vector of P determines the position of P from the origin. Is very important. So here OP denotes the position vector of R denotes the position vector. So for position vector, it has to be magnitude into direction. So magnitude is x and the direction is I, right? So you have to understand that I denotes here the unit vector, that is direction, right? So OP. So therefore the position vector is xi, or I can also write this as r, right? Or I can also write this as r. Yes. Now let v be the velocity of a particle at time t, right? Yeah. So let v be the velocity of a particle at time t, right? Now you have to understand that velocity is the vector quantity, right? Speed is the scalar quantity, The velocity is the vector quantity. For example, if I say 20 km per hour, it denotes the speed. If I say it's a velocity, I have to mention 20 km per hour direction also. So 20 km per hour east. So it means it is velocity. So whenever if I say velocity, it has to include direction also, right? Yeah. So let V be the velocity of a particle at time t. Now you know velocity, right? So velocity is the rate of change of displacement. So we know velocity is equal to rate of change of displacement, right? Yeah. Now you can see the displacement here is the position vector, which is r vector, right? So it is nothing but our velocity is nothing but the rate of change of position vector. So what is our r vector now? R vector is xi vector or xi. Now we have to differentiate with respect to uv. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to differentiate x. I'm going to fix I constant, and I'm going to differentiate I, and I'm going to fix x constant, right? Yeah. Now you can see this is equal to 0 because our unit vector I here I is the unit vector, right? So constant I is the unit vector, right? Yeah. Unit vector is always a constant vector. So here because I is the constant vector, that is unit vector, right? So if you differentiate the constant vector, it will be 0 because I is the constant vector. So we have only V is equal to dx by dt into I. So that's why I have said velocity is the vector quantity. So that means this denotes the magnitude and this denotes the direction. But in exam point of view, what we will do is we will only find the direction. Sorry, we will only find the magnitude. So they will not ask direction. So what we will do is we will always write velocity as dx by dt, right? So I is the direction. So we will fix velocity as dx by dt. So velocity is the rate of change of displacement. So here x is the displacement. So that means we can also write this straight away, but I don't want to do that. So velocity is the rate of change of displacement. So you can see from O to P the displacement is x. So therefore we have to differentiate with respect to t. So x is the displacement of the particle from O to P. So we will have dx by dt. Now important note, right? So this note is very important. You have to understand the concept behind this note. Now you can see the velocity is also in the I direction, and you can see the velocity is also I direction, and the vector is also in I direction, right? So you can see this is also in same direction. The velocity is also in the same direction. That means the vector velocity and vector both are collinear, right? So you know what's collinear? If you have one vector above, it is also one vector, then you say that it is a collinear, right? So we can see here that the vector v is collinear with vector I, right? Yeah. So that is vector I and vector v are collinear. Thus, for a particle moving along a straight line, the direction of velocity is always the direction of along the line. This is very easy, right? So it is not that it's a very important case. The particle moving along a straight line, the particle moving along a straight line, the direction of the velocity is always along the line itself. You don't think too much. Remember, suppose if you have a road here, right? Assuming it is a road. Now we are having a car, right? We are having a car. Now we are moving in this direction. Now, at what direction velocity moves? The velocity moves in this direction. right, moves in this direction, and where the road moves, it is also in this direction. So the particle moving along a straight line, the direction of the velocity is always along the line. That is, don't think very too much. So suppose if you are traveling here, the velocity moves in the direction along the line, right? So if you are moving in this direction, the line is also moving in this direction. Suppose if you are moving in this direction, the line is also moving in this direction, right? That's what it's saying. Don't think too much. The particle moving along a straight line, the direction of the velocity is always along the line itself. Why I'm saying this? Because you can see the direction of the velocity is a vector quantity, and this direction is I, and already we have taken this direction to be I, because we have taken this for this line. For this line, I vector denotes the unit vector. So you can see for this direction, I is the direction for this line, and for velocity also I is the direction. That means both the line and velocity are moving in the same direction. So when we are moving in a straight line, the direction of the velocity is always along the line itself. That is what this says. It's as simple as that, right? Yeah. Now we will get into acceleration. So the important thing is, the only thing you have to remember is this formula. Velocity is dx by dt. Now the next important thing is, if a particle p moving in the direction of x increasing. Now for example, if the particle, if suppose if you are moving in this direction, the velocity will be positive, right? Because you consider the x and y axis. Suppose if you are moving in this direction, our x will be increasing, right? So when the x is increasing, our velocity will be positive. Suppose we are moving in this direction, our x will be decreasing. So if you are moving in this direction, if x is increasing, the velocity will be positive. If x is decreasing, the velocity will be negative. That is also you have to understand, right? So the particle, so this is important for problem, right? So if x is increasing, velocity will be positive. That is, v is equal to dx by dt. If x is decreasing, velocity will be negative. This is the very important case, right? So you can easily visualize, if x is increasing, our I vector will be moving in this direction, which is in positive direction. So it will be I. Suppose if x is decreasing, it will be minus I, right? That's why we have minus I here. So for simplicity, we will not consider direction here. So if we have x is increasing, it will be plus I. If x is decreasing, we will have minus I, right? So a slight mathematical logic here. If you are moving in this direction, x will be positive. If you are moving in this direction, it will be negative. So moving in this direction is I vector. Moving in this direction is minus I vector. So when you are moving from, if x is decreasing, here you will have minus I vector. So we will not consider direction for simplicity. So what we will do is, if x is increasing, velocity we have to take that dx by dt. If x is decreasing, we have to take velocity to be minus dx by dt. This is very important case when doing problem, right? So you have to first you have to find whether the displacement is increasing or decreasing, right? So you have to use dx by dt or minus dx by dt. Yes. Now what we are doing is, we are finding here the instantaneous velocity, not average velocity, right? We are finding the velocity at that time, at that position, right? That we are going to call this as instantaneous velocity. So we are not talking about the average velocity here. So we will talk average velocity when we have time interval, right? But here we are only finding the speed at a certain time, right? At a fixed time. Suppose if we are moving in this direction, we are going to find the speed exactly at this point. So we're going to call the exact speed as the instantaneous speed, right? So that is what we are going to do. So whatever we are finding, we are finding the instantaneous speed only. So we are not finding the average speed. If you want to find average speed, so from time interval 1 second to 2 seconds, we will call this, when we have interval, we will call it as average speed. But here we are finding the speed at a specific time, at an instantaneous time. So whatever we are finding, we are finding only the instantaneous velocity. So this is the instantaneous velocity, right? Yeah. So now we'll get into acceleration. So the important thing is, so this is the conclusion we are going to have, right? If x is increasing, the velocity will be dx by dt. If x is decreasing, velocity will be minus dx by dt. What is x? X is the displacement of the particle from O to P. So now we'll get into acceleration now, right? Yeah. acceleration. So you know what's meant by acceleration, right? So first we'll discuss acceleration. So acceleration is the rate of change of velocity, as simple as this. So rate of change of velocity. So the rate of change means you have to rate of change of velocity with respect to time. So rate of change of velocity. So that is dv by dt, or okay, let me do like this. Sorry. So it is nothing but dv by dt, or we know velocity is dx by dt, right? We know velocity is dx by dt when x is increasing. So it will be dx by dt. So therefore this will be d square x by dt square, right? So if you want to find the acceleration, with the question, in the question, if velocity is given, you can find dv by dt. Suppose if a displacement is given, you have to find d square x by dt square. So these are the two conventions to write the acceleration. So acceleration is nothing but the rate of change of velocity. So again, if x is increasing, the acceleration will be plus dv by dt, and x is decreasing, the acceleration will be minus dv by dt, right? So because velocity can be dx by dt or minus dx by dt according as if the displacement is positive or displacement is negative. So the same here, if x is increasing, the velocity will be dv by dt, and if x is decreasing, the velocity will be minus dv by dt. So here dx by dt, here we will have dv by dt. So if x is increasing, velocity will be dv by dt, and if x is decreasing, velocity will be minus dv by dt, right? Because it naturally follows from here, right? So velocity can be plus dx by dt if x is increasing, so it will be, we will have plus dv by dt or minus dx by dt when x is decreasing. So the only conclusion is, the conclusion here is velocity is dx by dt. If x increasing, it will be minus dx by dt if x is decreasing. The acceleration will be dv by dt, or it is nothing but d square x by dt square, and if x is decreasing, the acceleration will be minus d square x by dt square. So when you know these two, when you know this, you can solve any problem based on velocity and acceleration, right? Yeah. So now we'll get into the problem now. So this is the concept behind velocity and the acceleration, right? So you know what's meant by acceleration now. So acceleration is nothing but the rate of change of velocity, right? So when you are suppose if you are moving, suppose if you are driving a bike, you are going at a constant rate of 40 km/h. Suddenly what you do is you are just raising the speed. That means you are accelerating, right? So that means at what speed you are accelerating at a particular time. That is what the rate of change of velocity. So whenever you are accelerating, the velocity will change, right? For example, if you are moving in a 40 km/h per constant speed, suddenly what you do is you are raising the accelerator. That means the speed will be increased to some amount. So at what amount it increases? So it is the rate of change of velocity. So here the velocity is 40, here the velocity is 60. So that means the velocity is changing. That is the rate of change of velocity is the acceleration. So this is the main idea we are going to follow. So whenever they ask us to find the velocity, if the displacement is given, you have to find dx by dt. And if you want to find acceleration, you have to find d square x by dt square. Now we'll get into the problem right now, right? Yeah. So problems. So you are going to solve a lot of problems only based on velocity and acceleration. So problem 1. Yes. Now we will solve problem 1. So look at the question carefully. Read the question very carefully. If at time t, the displacement x of a particle moving away from the origin is given by x is equal to a sin t plus b cos t. Find the velocity and acceleration of a particle. So what here they are giving is, so if at time t the particle is moving away from the origin, that means the part if you have this is an origin, the particle is moving away from the origin. That means it is moving, our displacement is increasing, right? It is moving away from the origin. And if at time t the displacement x of a particle moving away from the origin, so that means for example if at time if at position p, if at position p the particle is moving away from the origin, and the displacement here is given to be a sin t plus b cos t. That is why the displacement is given. You can see if at time t the displacement x of a particle moving away from the origin is given by x is equal to a sin t plus b cos t. Find the velocity and acceleration of a particle. So very easy as that. So given. So what here the velocity is positive or negative. So it is moving away from the origin. That means our x will be increasing. So if x is increasing, the velocity will be plus dx by dt and acceleration will be d square x by dt square, right? Yeah. So given x is equal to a sin t plus b cos t. Now first we will find the velocity. So velocity is the rate of change of displacement, right? Rate of change of so it is nothing but the rate of change of displacement. So it is nothing but our b is nothing but dx by dt. So that is d by dt of our x is a sin t plus b cos t. A sin t plus b cos t. So we differentiate this. So derivative of sin t is cos t plus cos t will be minus sin t. So therefore our velocity is a cos t minus b sin t. This is our velocity. That means suppose if you want to know the velocity at after 2 seconds, what you need to do? You just have to apply t is equal to 2. You will have some value that denotes the velocity. Now we will find the acceleration. So acceleration is nothing but d square x by dt square, right? So therefore our we have to derivate with d by dt of dx by dt, right? D by dt of dx by dt. So dx by dt is a cos t minus b sin t. So by derivative of this is cos t will be minus sin t and sin t will be cos t. So if I take minus outside, we will have a sin t plus b cos t. This is nothing but x, right? So our acceleration is nothing but minus x. That's it, right? So therefore velocity is a cos t minus b sin t, and acceleration is minus of a sin t plus b cos t, or the acceleration is nothing but minus x. That's it, right? So now we'll move on to the next problem now. So problem number 2. So now we'll move on to the second problem. So a point moves in a straight line. So that means we are in rectilinear motion. So first you fix the topic so that its distance s. So in the previous problem we have x to be the distance, here s to be the distance, right? So velocity will be ds by dt, because here the sign is only the symbol is changed, nothing, right? So here s is the displacement. So that the distance s from a fixed point, that is from distance from O to that point is s, right? In the previous problem we have x, here we have s. So a point moves in a straight line so that its distance s from a fixed point at any time t is proportional to t power n. In the previous problem they have given displacement to be a cos t plus b sin t, a sin t plus b cos t. Here what they are telling is that this displacement x is proportional to t power n, right? So they are not given the straight away x is equal to something, but they have just given it is proportional to t power n. If v is the velocity and f is the acceleration at any time t. So in the previous problem we have a to be acceleration, here f to be the acceleration. So don't worry about the sign, it's not a problem. Show that velocity square is equal to n into f into s divided by n into n minus 1, right? So what they are giving is, so first we will visualize this. So a particle moves along a straight line. So this is been moving along a straight line, and this is let this be the fixed position, and at some time t the displacement here is s. Displacement here is s. Now a point moves in a straight line, so that is distance s from a fixed point at any time t is proportional to t power n. That means this s is proportional to t power n. If p is the velocity and f is acceleration, we need to show that v square is equal to nfs divided by n into n minus 1. So first we will find s. So given s is proportional to t power n. This implies s is equal to k into t power n, where k is the constant of proportionality, right? Yeah, where k is the constant of proportionality. So this is our S now. So first we will find velocity, and then we will find acceleration, and then we will find velocity square to prove this, right? So first we will find velocity. So velocity is nothing but the change of displacement, rate of change of displacement. Here this displacement is x. So rate of change will be ds by dt, right? In the previous one we have x, here we have ds. So what will be by d by dt of our s is t power n. So d by dt of t power n is nothing but n into t power n minus 1. Sorry, we have k, right? So d by dt of k into t power n. So we have d by dt of k into t power n. I can take k outside, and the derivative of t power n is n into t power n minus 1. So therefore k into n into t power n minus 1 is the velocity at any time t. Now we will find the acceleration. So it is given that f is the acceleration. So acceleration will be d square s by dt square. So that is the derivative of the velocity. So d by dt of ds by dt. So this is nothing but d by dt of our ds by dt is k n t power n minus 1. Now we are differentiating with respect to t, so I can take k n outside, and if I differentiate t power n minus 1, it will be n minus 1 into t power n minus 2, right? So these are very basic. D by dx of x power n will be n into x power n minus 1. So we'll have n minus 1 will be here. Here you will have n minus 1 minus 1, which is n minus 2. So this is, we have k n into n minus 1 t power n minus 2. So what we did is, we have found velocity, we have found the acceleration for this s is equal to k t power n. Now we need to show that v square is equal to nfs divided by n into n minus 1. That's what we are going to show now. So first we will find v square, right? So what will be our v square? What is our v first? Our v is k into n into t power n minus 1 whole square, because we have to square the velocity. So if I bring square inside, you will have k square, and you will have n square, and here we will have t power 2 into n minus 1. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write this as k square n square t power n minus 2 t power n. Can I write like this? Can I write this as like this? So when you can see the bases are same, so you can add the powers. So if I add the powers, you will have n minus 2 plus n, which is 2n minus 2, which is same as 2n minus 2 here. So I can write this term as like this, right? Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write k as k into k, and n as n into n, and this is t power n minus 2 into t power n. Why I'm doing like this? Because I have to insert f here. So the f is k n n minus 1 t power n minus 2. That's what I'm just splitting n minus 2. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write k t power n as one term. So k t power n as one term, right? And k t power n as one term, k n t power n minus 2 inside, k n t power n minus 2 inside, we will have 1 n outside, right? Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is, so k t power n is nothing but, okay, what we'll do is, this k t power n will fix as this. Now I'm going to multiply and divide by n minus 1, because you can see k n t power n minus 2 into n minus 1. We don't have n minus 1 here. Then only we can insert f. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write k n into n minus 1 t power n minus 2. I'm going to divide this by n minus 1. That is, I'm multiplying and dividing by n minus 1 into n. Now what I can do is, I can write this whole term to be f, because our f is k n minus 1 t power n minus 2. So what is k t power n? So k t power n is nothing but s, right? So our s is nothing but k t power n. We have to prove this equality. That's why I'm doing like this. So I can write this to be s, and here I can write the numerator to be f, right? Because our f is k n minus 1 t power n minus 2 divided by n minus 1, and inside and the last we have x n, right? So if I multiply here, we will have n f s divided by n minus 1. So therefore b square is equal to n f s divided by n minus 1. That is what we need to prove, right? So we got to prove that b square is equal to n f s divided by n into n minus 1. It's a very important problem. A slight correction here. Sorry. The question, we don't have n into n minus 1 in the denominator. It is, so it is not n here, right? So n f s divided by n minus 1. That is what we have proved now. N f s divided by n minus 1. So we will continue solving more problems on velocity and acceleration in the upcoming videos. So only thing is you all understand is velocity is the rate of change of displacement, that is dx by dt, and the acceleration is the rate of change of velocity, right? So if you know these two concepts, then you can solve any problem based on velocity and acceleration. And velocity will be positive if x is increasing, and velocity will be negative if x is decreasing, and again same for acceleration also. So if you know these four ideas, then I'm sure that you can solve any problems on velocity and acceleration. So in the next videos also we will solve problems based on velocity and acceleration, right? So if you like this video, please comment, right? Because it's my first try on dynamics and statistics. So far I'm uploading pure mathematics. So if you like this video, please comment, right? So we'll see you next video. Goodbye. Thank you.